What's up,
What's
brother?
up? What's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. Doing good.
Welcome to Trust Me, bro.
Yep. Looks like the Saints got Tom Brady tonight, brother.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, it was a boring, garbage game until probably 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, typical Tom Brady. So he pulled it out. Looked pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Absolutely, man. How'd you fare this week?
Well, I definitely got one in the bag. I was playing a guy who had Godwin, and Godwin needed, I think, 18 or 19, something like that, for him to win. And Godwin did not get 18, 19. That last touchdown that Godwin got, which was actually called back because of a holding, that I think that saved me. So
Yeah, there you
that
go.
was a good thing. I think
There
I'm
you
about
go.
2 points down from in one of my matchups, but I noticed that Kamara had the ball in his hands right as the clock was coming off, so I need to check that score here at the end. But I don't want to really think about it right now, so
Yeah.
because if I didn't win, I don't want to get all angry. You
I
know what I mean?
gotcha. I
So I'll
gotcha.
be checking that later. All
All
right.
right. All right.
So
It's time to get angry, man.
yeah,
Or
exactly. So
maybe happy. You never know, brother.
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll save that joy or sorrow for after the show.
Yep. Cool. Cool. All right, man. So a little bit lighter of a list this week. I've got one quarterback, a couple running backs, a couple wide receivers, and a tight end.
Okay. All right. So hit me up with your first wide receiver, Craig.
First wide receiver, Michael Gallup,
Okay.
owned
Nice.
by 44%. And ESPN went 4 for 23, two
Yeah.
tutties. Looks like he's starting to come on, double digits,
Hmm.
doubles in the last couple games. You got Houston and Jacksonville coming up.
Right.
Looks like he's starting to come back on. So
Yeah. Yeah. I know
yeah,
he's been a
I
name
think
that
he's
you've
a good
been
one to pick.
mentioning lately, and yeah, with two tutties this past game, he looked like he's finally starting to round out into form. Down the stretch.
Yep.
So I know that Dak's definitely looking for someone else to feed in Dallas, and I think that's a good one. Good
Yep.
pick.
Yeah, I think he's solid, man. What you got on your
All right. So
first wide
first
receiver
up
on your board?
is a name that I wrote down. My pen wasn't necessarily out of ink, but I didn't write down a whole lot of names. To pass the eye test. During
Yeah.
the games on Sunday, but I did actually write down a name. Jahan Dotson plays for the Commanders. He's only
Yeah.
15% owned. He did pass the eye test, and that's the reason why I wrote him down. He does have a bye week coming up next week, so if you pick him up, he's not going to help you next week. But
Yep.
he did have 5 grabs on 9 targets. So 9 targets is pretty significant. You're right under double-digit targets for 54 yards and a tutty. He is a rookie. He looks like a pretty talented rookie as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. And the Commanders, they definitely sling the rock around quite a bit. So he might be somebody to keep an eye on. I know we're getting, to the twilight of this fantasy season. So there's really not a whole lot of room for projects at this point. But
Yeah.
if you're really hurting at wide receiver and you're looking for somebody to take you, through week 15, 16, 17, I mean, that's it. We got the fantasy playoffs coming up. So let's just say one of your, star wide receivers happens to get hurt, in week 14. This might be a guy to take a look at.
Yeah. I think it's that bye week. That's the only reason I didn't write him down. I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks good out there. There's been times during the season where I think we brought him up, and he looks
Yeah.
good, man. He's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Definitely somebody that could potentially put up some points for you. He's probably one
Yeah.
that I would look for on Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know?
Definitely a leftover. Yeah. Definitely
Yeah.
waiver wire leftovers. Yeah. No
Yep.
one's going to be using one of their, top 12 or 10 picks on this guy. So,
Yeah, but if you got somebody in your roster that got hurt this week,
Mhm.
I think he's a good plug-in.
yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Stash, and hopefully, he'll pay dividends for you in the fantasy playoffs.
Yep. Yeah. Well, cool. Next one on my list is Darius Slayton, 33% owned. We've talked about him over the last few weeks here too. 6 grabs for 90 yards. He's been double digits the last 6 of 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they're looking for somebody to throw the ball to there in New York, and he's definitely one that's getting the ball.
Right.
I haven't seen him really just light it up,
Hmm.
but he's definitely somebody that I think can get you anywhere from 12 to 18 points a game.
Yeah, I totally agree, Craig. And I actually had him written down as my second wide receiver. 61% owned, at least on the Yahoo side.
Wow.
Double digit points in 7 of the last 8 games. And so, like you said, he's not necessarily lighting it up. I think maybe only one of those, 7 games was over 20. And so he's getting you in that range, 10 to 20. And so
Yeah.
he's cashing checks and, ready to perform right there in the
Yeah.
double digit range. And, you could do worse. I think, if you got a wide receiver in your lineup that is, giving you consistently single digit points, like, let's say, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, what the hell is that guy's name? Man, I can't remember his
Pickens?
name right now. No, yeah, Pickens, he did terrible.
Deion Johnson?
Yeah, if you got Deion Johnson in
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
single digit Johnson, we might as well replace him with Darius Slayton right there. At least you're
Yeah.
getting double digits.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. What did you say he was owned in Yahoo?
well, 61% in Yahoo.
Dang, man.
What you got on ESPN?
33% in ESPN.
33. Okay. Yeah, I guess the Yahoo
That's a
folks are
huge
onto him.
variance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
That's all I've got on my wide receiver list, man. What you got? Anybody else?
Yeah, I actually had Darius Slayton as my number 2 as well.
Okay.
I went with a name that we've been talking about several times this season, but it's Devin Duvernay for the Ravens, 51% owned, 6 grabs on 6 targets, and Huntley is going to be the QB, most likely, and the reason why I wrote him down is because they're playing the Steelers, and the Steelers' pass defense is, right now they're the number 1 matchup for wide receivers. And so the way
suspect.
I'm looking at I'm kind of looking at this as kind of a situational play, for week 14.
Yep.
In that, Lamar Jackson, his first instinct is to run the ball. And I've got a feeling that Huntley, and we've seen him perform last year when Lamar Jackson went down. And, he likes to throw the ball a lot. He's more of a conventional quarterback. He can run, don't get me wrong. He can take off and run down the field just like Lamar Jackson can. Not quite as good as Lamar Jackson, but I think his first instinct is to sit in the pocket and throw the ball. And so they're going to want to throw the ball, I believe, against the Steelers with the number 1 matchup right now in fantasy football for opposing wide receivers. So I'm just kind of looking at this as a lottery ticket. If you're really hurting for a wide receiver, this could be a good plug and play for week 14.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, man. I really do. Like you said, Lamar is just looking to take off and run. He checks 1, 2 maybe, and then runs.
Right.
Number 3 is run. So
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting, man. That's a good play.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to running backs. Who's your first running back?
I got Cam Akers, 53% owned.
Nice.
Man, he went for 17 totes, 60 yards, 2 tutties. I feel like all of fantasy has been waiting for this dude to finally actually do something this year.
Yeah.
This guy.
Right.
This guy's been a freaking dud all year, but with they put Matt Stafford on IR.
Yep.
So he's not going to be around. I feel like who are they running a quarterback again? He got hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
he came back in, but yeah, that team's just
Wolford. I call him Wolford.
Yeah.
Wolford. Yeah, and that guy's even hurt. So
yeah, that guy's hurt. So they need somebody. He's got Vegas, Green Bay, Denver, and the Chargers coming up.
Right.
So all teams you could run the ball on. All the teams you can run the ball well on. So I feel like he's got some upside there. He's somebody I might go grab. Actually, I've been in a couple leagues. I've been hurting at running back, and he's somebody I think I might actually, if he's out there, I might take a swing at him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I had him written down as my second running back, Cam Akers. Like you said, 17 carries, 60 yards, and 2 tutties. It looks like he's got Vegas in week 14, and that's traditionally been a pretty good matchup. He's 46% owned on the Yahoo side, and so there he's the last man standing. Let's put it that way in that backfield.
Yeah, exactly.
So they let go of Henderson, and they've got a rookie out there who hasn't quite been able to establish dominance in that backfield. So I think it's the Cam Akers show from here on out.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I know that they were disgruntled with Cam Akers at one point, looking for, I know he was looking for a trade at the trade deadline. That didn't quite work out. They put him in the doghouse. They benched him. And I think at this point, they're just looking to, ride him until the wheels fall off, so they don't care if he gets hurt. So,
I agree.
All right. So, my running back was Bam Knight, which is Zonovan Knight. So, Jets 47%, 15 carries for 90 yards and 5 grabs for 28 yards. Over the past 2 games, he's had 14 and 18 fantasy points, and so this guy seems to be grabbing a hold of that Jets backfield. I know that their leading running back is hurt, Carter. So this seems to be, the Bam Knight show from here on out. It's the way I'm looking at it. I don't necessarily know if Carter's really going to be able to reestablish himself and take a hold of that backfield again. So I'm looking at this as a multi-week play and somebody who might be able to fill in a gap on your roster for a running back.
Yeah, isn't that crazy, man? They had Breece Hall, they had Michael Carter. You think running pretty good, looking like a good squad. They've changed out the quarterback. Now they're running some dude named Bam White. Or what'd you say, Bam?
Bam Knight. Yeah.
Bam Knight. Yeah,
Bam Knight and Mike White. That's right.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, but hey, if it works, it works,
Dude, it's where we're at, Craig. And brother, we've seen this, every single year in fantasy football. As it gets this late in the season, you've got a bunch of randos playing running back, and every now and then somebody, blows up. I mean, look at Penny last year, right? Remember Penny?
Yeah.
He hadn't done jack squat during the first 2 or 3 years of his career, and all of a sudden he lit it up. About this time last year. So that's somebody emerges. People emerge. I mean, look at St. Brown. Last year he just lit it up. He carried a lot of teams to fantasy gold, and so that's where we're at right now. We're looking for people to emerge and just really take that opportunity and run with it. So
man, I'm trying to think of that Green Bay running back that I had years and years ago. That just about week 8 or 9, starting running back went down, and this dude was way better than the starting running back, and carried me to a trophy. So it happens. It definitely can happen, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're called league winners. You know what I mean? So league winners are emerging right now.
Yep.
So it's a matter of grabbing a hold of them. I'm not necessarily saying that Bam White is a league winner, but I mean the Jets are turning it on lately. They got some hype right now around Mike White, and let's see if this guy can be a part of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Cool. Next one on my board is James Cook.
Okay.
We've been talking about him off and on throughout the last several weeks. 25% owned in ESPN.
Right.
14 for 64. He had another 6 catches for 41 yards. He's got the Jets coming up. Miami. Chicago's the most enticing one.
Nice. Yeah, that's good, man. Real good.
So I feel like it just gets from okay to better to all right. He's a start against Chicago. So I think they really are looking for that running back to come on. This could be the one. It could be the time.
Yeah, it is. And I've actually got him on one of my leagues that I'm pretty much guaranteed to make it to the playoffs in. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to start him in week 14, but that Chicago matchup, man, that's a good one. Especially with single-digit carry. As the only guy in front of him. I mean, I could see
single-digit carry.
Yeah, I could see him making a name for himself. planting his flag, as James Cook, no longer Dalvin Cook's little brother. I don't know, come out of the shadows. Who knows?
Yeah,
But, yeah,
and
I
hey,
like
look, if you're in a keeper league, if you're in a dynasty league,
it.
I would be grabbing him with both hands.
Yeah, totally, man. I love it.
Yep.
Good one. Okay. My next or last running back that I wrote down tonight is DJ Dallas, Seahawks, 3% owned. The reason why I wrote him down is because Ken Walker is injured.
Yeah.
And Dallas may start against the Panthers. And the Panthers are traditionally a pretty terrible run defense. And so if he does happen to, get the call and end up as the starting running back for the Seahawks, and the Seahawks love to run the ball. I mean, and we've seen DJ Dallas. This isn't the first season that, he's bust out on the scene. And so he's been lackluster, I'll tell you what. But he is playing, gosh, can't remember the name. The Panthers. There we go. He's playing the Panthers, coming up in week 14. So you can run on the Panthers. And so if he does end up being the, number one running back because Ken Walker is out in week 14, this could be a good plug and play.
Hey, is he the guy whose eyes are like this?
Yes. I noticed that today too. Yes, exactly. Yep. That's that picture is awesome, man. I love it. It's gold.
I'm looking him up right now. I want to see this picture.
Yep, that's the guy, man. Yeah, put a star next to his name because you'll be looking for him on Wednesday morning. Yep. There we go. Took it to the left. There you go. That's him. Yep. Yeah. Great picture, man. I love it.
Yep.
He's intense. He's an intense guy, it looks like.
Yep. Too
Dallas.
funny.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. So that's it for running backs.
Yeah.
Yep. So for tight ends, I've only got one. How about you?
Yep, one.
All right.
Let's hear yours.
What? Okay. Foster Moreau. Yeah, I'm doing a retread from last week. The same guy you brought up last week. Foster Moreau, Raiders. 62% owned. I figure at this point in the season, Craig, I'm going 65 and under instead of the 50, that we have been doing. Yeah. So 62 is under the 65. We're good to go. And this is a really random reason why I wrote him down. So he has double digits every other game. Okay, listen to this. 4.4, 13.3, 4.3, 12.3, 420. So I guess next up, 12 to 13.
Dude,
I don't know.
I mean, you say that, but I look at that. I look at that too. I really do.
Right?
Yeah. It's
so
a game plan thing, whatever it is. But yeah, I do look at that.
Right. Yeah. You've got, the patterns are 4 and 12 to 13. So I figure
like
he's
sitting
due
at the
for
blackjack table. It's like, man, I've had like 4 shitty hands in a row. Surely I'm going to get like a 20 here soon, right?
Yeah.
He's due. I'm due.
He's due. Yep. That's it. That's my whole logic right here. He's due. I don't know what that means. But yeah, if you're looking for a tight end who's due, his name's Foster Moreau.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you, dude. I'm pulling this dude out of the cave like we did, not too long ago. But Greg, how do you say it?
Dulcich, something like that. Yeah,
something like that. 38% owned. He went 6 for 85.
I know you mean. Yep.
Mm-hmm. He's when I see, I think Cortland Sutton's hurt.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So, let's get a Pat Scusher out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's his Wilson sucks.
Yeah, he does. He's god awful. Yeah, I
mean,
him and Brady. Him and Brady's got to be their last seasons. And Stafford,
it's not, man. This dude is owed
man.
Millions next year. Like it's the Broncos are so screwed with him, but somebody's got to catch the ball, and so I think this guy's gonna show back up out of the cave again here, and keep catching some passes.
There you go, man. Yeah, not bad. But I made this list before the game tonight. But that Cade Orton guy, for the, you know what I mean, for Tampa Bay, he kind of looked pretty good tonight. He kind of looked like a crunch time guy.
I think Brait was out sick, and so it's kind of next man up. But I like him.
Yeah, he's come through in the clutch here and there. I mean, Brady likes his tight ends, so that could be another name. Just a random throw in. At the last minute, I didn't do any homework on him, but he looked, passed the eye test a little bit tonight.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Got himself a tutty.
Yep, exactly. All right, you got any QBs?
I got one QB. This is one I think you brought him up last week. Jared Goff, 29%.
Yeah, me too. Yep, same thing.
340 for 2 tutties.
Yep.
Got Minnesota, the Jets, Carolina, and your favorite, Chi-Town.
That's right. Yeah, he's solid, dude. He really is, man. He's a pretty solid quarterback. I mean, what can you do? I mean, especially if you lost Lamar Jackson or Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, I don't know why you're, playing Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, if you're comfortable with 20 a week, that's your guy.
Yeah.
But if you lost either of those guys, Jared Goff's a very solid guy. I mean, 50% owned, like you said, 2 tutties. He's got Vikings up next. Vikings have been a pretty inviting play, for fantasy quarterbacks. So, yeah, that's a great one. He was my first as well.
Yeah. Cool. What's your second?
Mike White. Yeah, it's a retread. You brought him up last week. And, like I said, I hesitated to put him on my list last week, because I wanted to see him do it twice. And, he's gone 684 yards and 3 tutties over the past 2 games, which are the only games he's played. 18% owned. He's got the Lions in week 15. He's got the Jags in week 16. He's got the Bills next. So week 14 may be a bit of a test for him. But he's got a couple of layups after that.
Yeah, and the Bills haven't been playing that great lately.
Right. Yeah.
So let's say they do turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
You got some catch up. You got some garbage time, second half catch up where you feel like you can make up some of that, some of that ground. So not a bad play, man. Even one that I thought of was who's Mr. Irrelevant playing for San Fran right now. What's that dude's name?
Oh, yeah, Purdy.
Yeah. Like just uncluttered mind. The dude kind of had like an attitude to him. Yeah. So next game might be an interesting game, dude.
It could be. The kid actually kind of did pretty well. And I remember his post-game interview. It was really funny. The guy, he acted like he had never been on camera before in his life.
He probably hasn't.
He's like, Garoppolo, that dude told me to do this and that, and I made it happen.
And I think there's a lot to that uncluttered mind where you're not thinking about, okay, well, when I see this guy over here, I got to think about this. It's just, you go out there and play, man. You just go out there and throw the rock around and hit the open guy. So.
Just like Mike White, there's not a lot of tape on Purdy, at least on the NFL level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, therefore, he could surprise a lot of teams. So, I mean, he's got all the weapons.
Yep.
So, he's throwing to Debo, right? He hit Debo a lot more than Garoppolo's been,
Yeah.
And so this could be a big a boom for Debo as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
He's more of a traditional quarterback. I don't know. I mean, not that Garoppolo's not a pocket quarterback himself, but Garoppolo just seems, I don't know, man. He's really limited in his route tree. But this guy might open it up, and get the ball in the hands of his playmakers. So, it could happen.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it could be really good for Christian McCaffrey. It could be really good for Debo, like you said. We'll see. Kittle.
Yeah.
Ayuk.
Yeah.
They could be. I don't know, man. I almost feel like it could be downgraded a little bit for those guys.
Right. Well, as a Cowboys fan, I think this is actually a really good thing because I had been a little bit frightened about seeing, the 49ers again in the playoffs. Just
100%.
like they had our number. You know what I mean? They had our number last year and in previous years too. I mean, they're a loaded and stocked team. And, seeing their leading QB go down, is music to my ears as a Cowboys fan because I think we can get past them now.
Yeah,
I do.
I'm with you.
So
I'm with you. That defense is still pretty solid, but other than that,
yeah, they are really
I feel like we
solid.
got
Yeah,
it.
the defense is
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, but yeah, they're a complete team
Yeah.
for sure. But
How
without
about that
keeping
Cowboys win though, dude?
man,
Golly,
yeah.
that was
Wow, they
freaking
put up
sick,
a
man.
50 burger on the Golds. Man, it was
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, what a
Yes.
game. Awesome.
Cowboys D, Browns D, absolutely solid.
Yeah, I had Browns D on 2 squads, last or
Nice.
this past weekend. Yeah, 32
Nice.
points, both squads. Amazing. How do you get 32 points? You're lucky to get 32 points from your quarterback, much less the defense. Man.
All right, exactly. Such
Unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah. Well, hopefully those pay off to a win. I don't know. I need to go back and check and see how Kamara did at the end of that game, but who knows?
He didn't do shit.
Yep.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to skip to another segment or do you have any more quarterbacks, Craig?
No, I'm done with those, and I don't have another segment. So let's see what you got, brother.
Okay. So here we are. I'm not saying the season's over, but for some of us it is. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying I'm out in all my leagues. I mean, I'm definitely making the playoffs in one for sure. But I want to look back and reflect on some of the biggest mistakes of the season. And this is kind of a hard topic, for me to bring up. I'm really not comfortable, admitting my faults, but I'm gonna make myself vulnerable here and talk to you about some of the mistakes I made this season.
Okay.
I feel like as a fantasy analyst, it's only fair to our audience for me to reveal, the mistakes that I make, because if we don't admit to our mistakes and talk about them, we're not going to learn from them. Right.
That's right.
So here we go. So
you want to put on like some slow music,
right? Yeah. Little Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna break out the tissues. Where are they at? Where's my tissue box?
I don't have any in here.
Yeah. Hopefully I won't get too teared up, but here we are. All right. So I got 5 mistakes I'm going to talk about, Craig.
Okay.
The first one is I dropped Kenneth Walker after week 4.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Huge mistake. That's why it's number 1. The biggest mistake
Up
in
till
my
today.
book.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Going into the fantasy playoffs without him. I mean, but he would have carried me big time. Throughout the season. Yeah. So I dropped Kenneth Walker after week 4, and the reason why I did that.
Drop? Yeah. Okay.
And that's back when Penny was still, the lead guy. You know what I mean? In week 4, in week 4, Penny was still the lead guy, and Kenneth Walker was sitting on the bench, getting nothing. And so I went ahead and dropped him. I forget who I picked up for him, but I had the number 1 pick on the waiver wire. So I thought to myself, all right, look, if something happens to Penny, I can go pick him up. And so what happens, though, there's a rule in the Yahoo leagues. I know you don't play Yahoo leagues, Craig, but there's a rule in Yahoo that if you drop somebody, you have to let the player go through the waiver wire, claims and periods before you can pick him back up, right? And I wasn't aware of that rule. And so I had dropped him thinking, all right, look, I've got number 1 pick. If something happens, I could pick him right back up. However, I was blocked by Yahoo from picking him back up. And so there I was, stuck with, Penny and, on my team, IR, her for the season, and I couldn't pick up Kenneth Walker again. ESPN doesn't have that problem. You know what I mean? And so I'm kind of leaning towards ESPN for a platform, for our leagues as opposed to Yahoo because of that stupid rule. But anyway, I lost Kenneth Walker because I dropped him stupidly. I couldn't pick him back up with my number 1 waiver wire claim. So that was a huge mistake. All right, next up on my mistake list, I dropped Garrett Wilson after week 7 because Zach Wilson could not throw the ball to him. He started off the season, really
There's
electric.
only one Wilson on this team, baby.
Exactly, dude. I remember Joe Flacco was their quarterback to start the season, right? Remember that? Zach was hurt, and Garrett Wilson was pretty electric. He showed his stuff. He was a good-looking, wide receiver at Ohio State. Solid guy. I think he was the first or second round wide receiver. Really good guy. And when I saw that, they benched Flacco and went back to Zach Wilson, I was like, well, all right, party over. I dropped him. So that was a mistake because he's gone off for 30 plus points at least in 2 games, since then, and it had a pretty good game, this last week. That could have been a good fantasy asset had I kept him on my team and not been so impatient.
Yeah.
All right, mistake number 3. I dropped Christian Watson after week 2 in my neighborhood league. I drafted that guy. I drafted Christian Watson in one of the very late rounds. Probably around 15, 16.
One, though, bro. It is, dude. Crap. He didn't do anything until recently, man.
Correct. He's been balling since week 10. So weeks 1 through 9, nothing.
Nada.
So,
droppable.
Right. So, okay. So we just talked about 2 rookie wide receivers. So what's the lesson to be learned here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes good half a season for those rookie wide receivers to start coming on.
Correct. So what do we do, Greg? Do we draft them and let them sit on our bench for half the season, or do we sit there and wait for somebody else to get impatient and then pick them up, after game 6, 7? I don't know. Tell me what the answer is. I don't know. I've been racking my brain on this one.
I don't know, man. I mean, I drafted Hopkins. Knowing he had a 6-game suspension. I tried to get him in 2 leagues. I only got him in 1.
You were patient.
Dude, right before me, I was patient because I knew what I had.
Right.
With rookie wide receivers, you don't know what you exactly know what you have.
Exactly.
Right. So I feel like in those leagues where you got a keeper, where you got an auction draft where you can get them for cheap, it's worth the wait, Right. But in a year-by-year league, I don't know, man. I think in those year-by-year leagues, you kind of just have to let's see what we got. Let somebody get impatient. Sit them on the waiver wire. There's not many rookie wide receivers that come out of the gate just guns a-blazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like even Odell Beckham.
You don't see it.
Yeah, remember the season when ODB, blew up. Like he didn't blow up till half the season either. Like that seems to be the way it works. For rookie wide receivers, they don't come on until the second half of their rookie year. So the strategy needs to be either don't draft them, or if you do draft them, just be ready to sit on them. Just be ready to commit 2 or 3, in the bench stash, spots for your rookies to sit there and, you water them every week. You wait for them, to finally grow up, They're
like bamboo, like it takes 3 years for them to actually do something and they just sprout.
Yeah. Right. So, that's it. Yeah, exactly, man. So I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards the the philosophy of okay. Here's what I do every year, Craig. When the NFL draft happens, I write down the names of the top 10, or the guys that went in the first and second round. The top 10, draft prodigies for running backs and wide receivers. Because I really don't look at tight ends or maybe sometimes quarterbacks. But anyway, for the NFL draft, that's what I write down is, the running backs and wide receivers, because that's what we're in the business of looking at. And, and those are the guys I got my eye on in these drafts, and so therefore it might make more sense just to kind of keep that list, and dust it off, after about week 6, and then say, all right, where are these guys at? How you doing? Where's Garrett Wilson? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, if you spend a first round draft pick, or a second round draft pick on somebody, you're gonna get them the ball. At some point you're gonna get them the ball.
That's right.
Like if they just absolutely flop and they suck, they're Ryan Leaf, they're just garbage.
Right.
It is what it is, like those busts happen, but they're gonna give them their shot for sure.
Right.
So, somebody that's drafted in the 6th round and they just turn into Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like you just don't see that shit coming, and that's a waiver wire dude that you happen to, throw one out there for, and you hit.
Right.
You hit gold,
Yeah.
But, I think those first and second round guys, I agree with that, man. Like you just, you keep watching them, and they're going to force the ball to them at some point.
That's correct. Whether you take some time to develop chemistry, just like Christian Watson. I mean, it took 9 games. He went through 9 games with with Rodgers. I'm not saying he was healthy and on the field all 9 of those games. I think he was hurt for about 4 of them. But let's just take the other 4 out of the equation. It took about 5 games for him to to become comfortable, or for Rodgers to be comfortable with him. To feed him the ball. So yeah.
I mean, and he's not getting 13 passes a game.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting 3 to 5.
Yeah, exactly. Like six passes
chances.
for like a $120 and a tutty or two. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, almost. He's getting a passing touchdown almost every game.
For
he's
sure.
looking for him in the end zone. That's for sure.
Yeah,
But
dude.
that last one was a 48-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
They did an end around, and he took it to the house.
Yeah, exactly. He's a playmaker, man. Yeah,
yeah,
he's solid, dude.
So,
really good guy.
if you're a Christian Watson owner,
kudos to you, man.
Playing with confidence. I grabbed him off the waiver wire when Cup went down.
Right. Nice. And, smart. Very good.
Yeah,
move.
he's been a pretty good replacement.
Yeah, I was not aggressive enough with Christian Watson. I know he had that blow up game. I guess it was week 10. Week 10, he had a blow up game. And, after doing the show for a number of weeks, I kind of thought to myself, well, we've seen a lot of, one hit wonders. We've seen a lot of flash in the pants. So let me see him do it twice. And then I'm going to go all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I didn't have a chance to see him do it twice because everyone else scooped him up. So I even had, first waiver wire priority. I had second waiver wire priority in another league. I'd spent neither of them because I sat there and waited, thinking, let's see where this goes,
Yeah.
But,
so this being your regrets or whatever you're calling it,
right?
Like that's one that let me spend it and see him on my bench.
Yeah.
For me, it was different. I had Cup go down that same week.
Yeah, you needed it.
So it was like, I need somebody. I'm going to take a shot on this dude.
Sure.
They've been talking about him. Sure. Rodgers needs somebody.
Yep.
Nobody else has stepped up to the plate here. So that's why I went with him.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. Yeah, if I had a devastating injury like that, and I was in need of, a guy like that. All right. Okay, next up on my biggest mistakes for the season. And this is kind of in order of magnitude, but I dropped the Cowboys defense after week 1 in my neighborhood league. The reason why I did that, Craig, and I'll give you my reasoning. I drafted the Cowboys defense, and the reason why it's not because I don't think they're a good defense. They're great defense, but I saw Dak go down week 1, and I thought to myself, I was like, well, you know what? All right. If Dak's out, and we've seen Cooper Rush before, we've seen him suck in preseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we've seen this guy suck in preseason. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? I mean, if Cooper Rush is going to get, gang tackled and, I mean, their O-line wasn't that great last season. I felt like if, they end up with the defense on the field all the time, every game, they're going to get tired. I was like, this is not going to be a good situation. So I dropped the Cowboys defense. However, I mean, look at last night. They're balling. You know what I mean? I would have loved to have had the Cowboys.
They're like
defense.
number 2. Yeah.
They're fantastic.
The Patriots defense for fantasy is number 1.
Right. Yeah.
I think they're number 2, and then San Fran's number 3.
Correct.
There's only like those 3, and the rest is just every week
streamers,
flip them out.
streamers,
streamers. That's
streamers,
it. Yeah,
that's it.
Those are the 3 most consistent ones. So
correct.
I agree with you, man. And I didn't see that coming, dude. I've got Cowboy defense on none of my teams. I wish I had them on every one of my teams.
Of course.
Yeah. I missed that boat with you, brother.
Yep. So there we are.
I didn't drop them. Matter of fact, I think I had them. I think I played them one week, and I just I dropped them. They had a tough matchup coming up, and I think I dropped them. But
yeah.
And
I wish I would have just held on to them and just kind of played them at the good matchups. And they obviously haven't gone off like they did last night. For every game they've played. But yeah, I mean, you could plug them in 80% of the time and be solid.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's the sacks alone. They're leading the league. Number 1 in sacks. They got 40, almost 50 sacks.
Right.
That's 50 points right there.
That's right.
Then the turnovers, then touchdowns and everything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right. So my last regret, and I looking at my season, I actually kind of thought I would have a lot more regrets than I did. But I went back and looked, at all the different players that I've kind of, had a date or two with and dropped. And, I've only had 5 regrets on the whole season. So, the rest of it is what it is. But hey, I dropped Geno Smith after week 7. And that may or may not be, a huge regret. Wow, you dropped Geno Smith. Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, but
fantasy idiot you are.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's not like I dropped Cup after week 3. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's it is what it is, right? So I dropped Geno Smith after week 7. Yeah, he's been a pretty solid, quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's top 3, but he's definitely top 8. I don't know. I mean, he's good.
Yeah. He's been solid, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you prepare for the segment. My biggest regret, and I've told you this before, sitting there on draft day, I drafted Kyle Pitts over Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews hasn't been setting the world on fire this year.
No, I don't know. He's having a down year for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely had a down year. Mm-hmm. Very pedestrian year.
Yes.
But, the garbage tire fire out there that is the tight end spot. He's absolutely one that would be cemented in my lineup every week. As long as he's gonna put a helmet on, I'm gonna start him.
Kyle I've been doing that. Yeah, I've been starting Mark Andrews every week, and guess what he got me this past week? I think it was like 6 or 8 points. You know what I mean?
I'll take it, dude.
Yeah,
I'll take it, man. Kickers are outscoring tight ends right now. Like unless you have Kelsey or Kelsey or Kelsey.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Kickers and defenses are outscoring tight ends this year, man. It is just terrible.
Yeah, it's a wasteland, man. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think Kelsey should go number 1 overall in all drafts next season.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. Fill in the pieces after that.
Yeah, just like remember that time when I picked up Gonzo with my first round draft pick. Remember that one time? Tony Gonzalez. I called him Gonzo, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a long time, Craig. It's probably been at least 10 years. But anyway, I picked him up in my number 1 overall draft pick. I was sitting there looking at the numbers. I was like, this guy's pretty solid. It's like, his lowest week was 17 points. The previous season. I was like, well, hell yeah. This is it's a good fantasy asset right here. I know he's a tight end, but this is good, man. If your lowest week is 17, if you're scoring between 17 and 29, every game the previous season, I was like, well, I'm on board. This is my first number 1 pick. I'm going for it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yep.
It's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Tight end is, a barren wasteland for most fantasy teams.
Yeah.
So even Kittle owners, I'm a Kittle owner. It's not pretty. I'm a Mark Andrews owner. It's not pretty either. Darren Waller,
Schultz.
not pretty. Schultz. Yeah. Didn't do nothing this past week. 19 the week before. What are you gonna do?
For 3 or 4 years, that tight end was like, man, if I can get me one of these top 5 tight ends,
right,
I'm set.
Yeah. Now it's a top 1 tight end. So, and someday Kelsey's gonna retire. So what are we gonna do then?
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Anyway, that's it. Those are my top 5 regrets for the season. So after the season I've had, I'm surprised it's not a top 10 list. But hey, that's all I got. So the rest of it is what it is, and the chips fall where they may.
Yep. Well, on we go, brother. We got 1 game left.
That's it.
Finish strong. Start your best guys.
Do. Yeah, that's all. Best
lineup together. Yeah. Let's go,
Craig. That's exactly what I've been thinking too. I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, are we going to throw out a bunch of, random waiver wire names for people to trust in their last game that will determine whether or not they make the playoffs? The answer is no. You're going to play your studs. You're going to play the guys, that you trust, and that's who you're playing, in this last week before you make the playoffs. And so, trust in your players and, hope that they get you there.
Yeah. Good things happen, man.
Yep. All right.
Cool. All right, brother. Hey, man.
Brother.
Good episode. Good stuff. I like it.
Sir.
Good luck on that waiver wire. Good luck in the last week. Let's go out there and see how we do, man.
Let's rally,
I got
brother.
2 playoffs locked up. I got 2 that are kind of on the line.
Yep.
Should be in at least three of the 4 playoffs, man.
Very good, man. I got 1 locked up, and then the other 3 are in flux. Well, yeah. we'll talk about flex, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We got one more week. Let's see what happens.
Yep. Cool.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Enjoy
All right,
the football
my man.
this week, and we'll be at it next week.
You know it. Good night.
All right.
Peace.
Good night.